A small city in Southern California, what we're really trying to do is we're telling the state is, look, at this point, we are conflicted with the U.S. Constitution. In Los Alamitos, we firmly believe that the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land and that the SB 54 sanctuary law is in conflict.
That was the mayor of Los Alamitos on the show last night before the town said yes. They voted yes, they're going to opt out of California's sanctuary policies. Today, the White House hosting a roundtable on sanctuary policies this afternoon. President Trump, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Republican lawmakers, Homeland Security, law enforcement, they were all there. Los Alamitos voted last night again to opt out of these policies. Now, here's what's going on there. They're being threatened by lawsuits by opponents. One local town official is saying, quote, California legislators now bullying us into violating our oath of office to uphold the Constitution. Let's take it up with the Fresno County Sheriff who opposes California's sanctuary policies. Sheriff Margaret Mims, great to see you, Sheriff.
Nice to see you.
You know, this is like a microcosm of what's going on across California, what's going on in Los Alamitos, Sheriff. On the one side, they're saying, you know what, the people who want to opt out, you're bigots, you're anti-immigration, you're racist. The other side is saying, hey, even people from Mexico or immigrants in Los Alamitos, they're saying, hey, we've got to protect ourselves. This is about the Constitution. What do you say?
Well, I believe this really is a good example of the lawsuit that the Attorney General filed against California when it comes to sanctuary states. He is saying this is in violation of the authority of the federal government. Los Alamitos, I believe, might be leading the way when other cities who may have been hesitant now may be willing to join them and say we are not anti-immigrant. We believe in the rule of law.
Yeah, to your point, people from immigrating here from places like Mexico saying, yes, we should opt out of those policies. They agree with the town of Los Alamitos. And to your point, Sheriff, the mayor of Los Alamitos told us on the show last night that you're right, that there are other mayors who could follow what we're doing and opt out too. Let's watch.
There's a lot of mayors in California that don't want to be a part of it, but it's a really tough situation because in our state, a lot of this legislation that comes out of Sacramento just seems disconnected, that they're not attached. When you're a mayor of a small town, immediately your constituents tell you how they feel, where they're at, and you're going to find out that evening in the grocery store whether you're doing a good job or not. And I think a lot of this stuff that's going on in Sacramento, people just constantly saying to all of us on the council, what is going on?
Okay, so this could set off a chain reaction, Sheriff. What other cities are you hearing discontent where people don't like the sanctuary policies?
Well, I won't put out their names. I'll let them be first to come up with their names. But here's one interesting thing. The sanctuary state law does not legally allow anyone to opt out. So they are still going to be held to what the law is in California. Now, the legislative branch in California has certain immunities. However, the executive branch, like sheriffs, we don't have immunity. So if we don't follow the law, we can be held personally liable. And that's what makes this so untenable. When you have the conflict between federal law and state law, and here we are stuck in the middle. So I think it's the vote was, here's our position. We're taking a stance, and it sends a message, even though legally you really can't opt out.
All right, so wait, let's stay on that for a second. Personally liable for what?
So, for instance, the sanctuary state law prohibits sheriffs from allowing ICE to use our databases for inmate information. It does not allow us to talk to ICE about certain inmates that are in our jail or ready for release. It really prohibits us from fully communicating with ICE. If I violate that law, I can be held personally liable in a civil lawsuit for violating that state law.
So you could be sued. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Right.
So, here's another story for you. I like your reaction. A sheriff in New York State, one lone sheriff in New York State, he's signing up to help out the immigration crackdown. He's Sheriff Patrick Russo. He's one of only 75 in the country to sign an agreement that would let corrections officers in the state perform the functions of ICE agents. Should more sheriffs be stepping up?
Well, if they can legally do so, again, that's the problem with our state sanctuary state law. It prohibits law enforcement from using any resources to help ICE do that, including personnel. So, of course, laws in New York are different than they are in California.
Yeah.
So that particular sheriff is taking a stand. I'm sure it's reflective of his constituency. But here in California, we're prohibited from doing so.
You know, Sheriff, an estimated 138,000 people left California in a 12-month period through last summer. They left last year. 138,000, that's like losing the entire cities of Berkeley and Beverly Hills combined. They're fed up with housing costs and taxes, and I guess they're tired of bad California policies. What's your reaction to that? They're going to places like Texas. What's your reaction to that, Sheriff?
Well, last year, California passed a gas tax. We now have the highest total tax rates in the whole nation. It was not unexpected. I mean, predictable is preventable, right? So when people leave, they're going to more tax-friendly, more business-friendly states, such as Texas. So this should not have been unforeseen by our leadership. Unfortunately, those who are paying the taxes and pulling the weight of many people who are not are now going to be leaving. We're going to run out of money to be able to support those who are not paying taxes.
Well, we're staying on California. We're going to stay on that story. Sheriff Mims, thank you so much for your service to our country. We love having you on. Come back soon.